Nicholas Prosper, the teenager who killed 3 members of his family, has just been sentenced to life with a minimum of 48 years. I've just been watching the sentencing live on the TV, and I did actually think he was going to get life without parole. Now, anyone who's not familiar with this case, it has just happened. The sentencing has just happened right about 10 minutes ago. And a lot of you will probably be watching this later on catch up, as it's now recording live. But I will tell you a bit about the case. So Nicholas Prosper, who was 18-year-old at the time, murdered his mother, his brother, and his sister. Now, I'll put a picture up of him just now. Now, this is the outfit that he wore when he committed the murders. It was on Friday the 13th, and he was trying to recreate a horror movie, and it actually was. But the disturbing part about it as well, after the planned attack on his family, he was also going to go into a primary school, his old primary school. He had a shotgun with 100 cartridges, and his plan was to massacre 30 kids in that school. What a sick individual. He was 18-year-old at the time. He's now 19. And the judge, when she was doing her summing up, she did say that he's actually loving the attention in prison. He's reveling in it. He's loving the environment because he is a bit of a social outcast. His whole life was online. He didn't have much of a life outside. His whole life was online. He was, like I've mentioned, a social outcast. He didn't like going out. And now he's in prison, in these surroundings, obviously prison surroundings where you don't go much, you don't go far. There's not many people there. And he's loving it, and he's loving the notoriety. So I'll put his picture back up 1 second whilst I talk through exactly. So that's him there. The teenager murdered 3 members of his family. And like I said, he'd also planned to carry out one of the biggest massacres of the 21st century. Nicholas Prosper used a shotgun to kill his mother, Juliana Falcon, 48, his brother Kyle, 16, and his 13-year-old sister at their home in Luton on Friday the 13th of September, 2024. Then he planned, like I've just said, to go to St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School afterwards to act out his sick fantasy. He wanted to be known as the one that committed the most heinous and serious massacre of the century. He was obsessed with serial killers. He was obsessed with mass shootings. And he wanted to beat the latest one in America, who had the most mass shootings in a school. Now, the reason he didn't, fortunately, carry out these mass shootings was because the neighbours had heard the shotgun going off in the early hours of the morning, because his mother had woke up and disturbed him when he was getting on with his plan, and she seen the shotgun and she seen what he was going to do. So then he blasted his mother, killed her instantly, then went after his younger brother, and he had over 100 stab wounds, believe it or not. Then he went hunting his 13-year-old sister, who he'd shot at. Then she'd ran away, hid under the table, and he went over the top and blasted her, killing her there and then. But his plan, because he'd wrote everything down, his plan was thwarted because he wanted to do this in the early morning, round about primary school time. He wanted to act out this fantasy. Then he wanted to go to the school and commit the massacre. But fortunately, he didn't get to the school. He was disturbed, like I said, by his mother through the night, and then he acted out what he was going to do. But the neighbours fortunately heard the gunshots and alerted the coppers, so he had to leave the house. And part of his plan was as well, when the scene, because obviously he had it all wrote down, what he was going to do. Part of his plan was to grape his 13-year-old sister. Now, I can't say the right term on here because it will flag up, but you get what I'm trying to say. He wanted to do that to his 13-year-old sister before he killed her. So when he was out in the early hours walking the streets, coppers all over, obviously they heard the noise from the neighbours had heard the noise rather, called the coppers, and as he was walking down the streets, he actually flagged the coppers over, told them what he'd done and who he was. Coppers went to the door, kicked the door in, and found the bodies in the house. And that's how his plan was thwarted. Imagine if he went through with his plan, but it's unimaginable because his aim was to go into this primary school and target 4-year-olds. What a sick individual, but he got life with a minimum of 48 years. That should have been life without parole. And for cases like this, he should definitely never have the chance of walking the streets again. Now, when I was reading this summing up, when I was watching the judges summing up, she was talking about what the psychiatrist had actually said. When the psychiatrist was interviewing him in prison, he had no remorse, but he had ASD, I think it was called, a form of autism where he's got no remorse, he's got no feelings, even though it was his family. He had a good upbringing. There was no reason for him to do this. He'd had a lovely upbringing, lovely family, and he went and acted out this sick fantasy. And like I said, when he's getting interviewed off the psychiatrist, or not getting interviewed, getting assessed, he said he's got no feelings. He doesn't feel what other people feel, and he's got a lack of victim empathy. But imagine his own siblings, his 13-year-old sister, he was 18-year-old at the time. You're supposed to care for your younger siblings, or a normal person would. Now this deluded man or animal or creature, because people don't like it when I say animal, because animals do have feelings unlike him. He is a monster. But yes, I don't believe he should ever be walking the streets again, but I don't think he will. But like I said, he's in prison. He'll be on the VP wings, obviously, because this monster would be attacked instantly off the normal location, lads. So he's on the VP wings and he's reveling in his notoriety and what he's actually done. So he might get a wake-up call one day when they take out prison justice on him, because some of the inmates will, even though they're on the VP wing, someone will get a hold of him, and maybe when he feels pain by getting assaulted off the other inmates, then he might come to terms with it, because then the realization will set in. He might not have no feelings, as in feelings for what he's done, or feelings or thinking about other people's feelings, but believe you me, when prison justice catches up with him, like it does with all these type of offenders, taking the life of his 13-year-old sister, then I believe it'll smack him in the face as quick as what the person will, and then he'll come to the realization and realize what he's actually done. Right, people, now that I've finished telling that or talking about that story in that case, I will do a bit interacting with the subscribers. So, Howard Elder, afternoon, how are we doing? Yaki Gaddafi, funny old name, but I know you're a long-time subscriber. How you doing, pal? John Smith. So, Wingnut Hook says he has feelings, sick ones. Right, he definitely has them type of feelings. Say what? Optical Man says, don't take this reality seriously. It's illusionary theatre show. Well, unfortunately, it actually is true, even though as much as we wished it wasn't, taking the lives of little girls like that and his mother and brother who did not deserve any of this. But that absolute wronging what he's classed as, because these type of prisoners, if they went on a normal location, well, they wouldn't last on normal location, because he's took the life of a 13-year-old girl. He's an absolute classed as a bacon. A bacon basher will catch up with him. So Yaki, big up. Yes, keep him well, brother. Hope you are too. Anon says that fancy world will hit him in real life once he reaches prison. Absolutely. Like I said, once he gets into the high security estate and he's on the VP wings, then he will have to defend himself. And someone like him, who obviously has went after his poor, defenseless family. But I will talk a little bit about, because I forgot to mention this bit, because whilst I was watching it, I couldn't believe where he'd actually got the shotgun from. He's been online, bearing in mind he's an 18-year-old lad. The seller of the shotgun had a legal license to hold his shotgun. Obviously, he had it up for sale. Maybe he's on a certain type of page where they sell shotguns, a shotgun seller page. And the person whose shotgun it was has actually went and met him in a car park near a block of flats. He's given him £30 for the petrol money, and he's bought the shotgun with 100 cartridges for £650. Imagine meeting a stranger in a car park to buy a shotgun at 18-year-old. But it goes on to say that the shotgun seller thought that he was buying it legally. But even if he thought he was buying it legally, you can't be that dumb to fucking sell a shotgun with 100 cartridges to an 18-year-old lad in a car park. But he did actually, Nicholas Prosper did actually go to that car park. So that shotgun seller was lucky he got away with his life, to be honest, because he actually had a knife on him. He wasn't going to pay for the gun, he was going to take it by force. But the seller's wife was actually there in the car, and he thought to himself, he's not that daft, because he says, there's a witness in the car, I best pay for it and do it properly. But he's produced a fake shotgun license, and that's why the seller has actually sold him it. But let me know your thoughts on that. How mad is that sound? You can just go online, go and meet someone in a car park. Normally, in the criminal world, maybe you could go and meet someone and buy a shotgun or something of the sort. But going online and meeting somebody in a car park and buying a shotgun for £650 with 100 shotgun cartridges, I bet you any money he's regretting his actions doing that, and he's feeling remorse for that. So Wingnut says, do people go on VP wing just to bash the bacons? Not very often, but there is instances where it happens, because when I was in Franklin prison, high security, there was a lad up on normal location. Everyone was wondering why he disappeared down onto the bacon wings. But there was somebody in the prison who'd actually baconed his daughter. So he purposely put himself down there to go and act out his own prison justice. Now, we never heard anything more after that point when he went down onto the bacon wings, the VP wings. And we never heard any more about it. So hopefully he did catch up and get some justice for his daughter. So MJB says he was obsessed with the young girl in the Walking Dead game. So like I say, he was doing a lot of his life was online, playing them stupid daft computer games, the Walking Dead game. And he, in his mind, he's in this warped world. And he wanted to act out his own horror show on Friday the 13th, which he did. And his poor family got the brunt of it. But like I've said, luckily, he didn't get a hold of the poor kids in that school, because then it would have been a whole different story. But again, I didn't hear about any of this. Obviously, I research prison stuff all the time and it pops up on my news app. But I never ever seen anything to do with this content about these 3 people that were killed down in Luton only a matter of months ago, really, because it was September 2024. Which is what, 6-7 months ago? Philip Good says, Ricky's lunchtime bacon basher show. I'll love your work, Geezer. Thanks. Nice one, pal. Like I say, all the stuff that I bring on here now is all prison news, prison stuff. that a lot of people don't hear about. A lot of people don't watch the general news. And a lot of people don't find out what's going on. But on here, you'll find out what's going on in the prisons, and the ones that are due to go in prison, and the bacons that are getting bashed inside a prison. And like John says there, wood chipper, the only cure for the bacons. So, what's this one say? Sorry. So Matthew says there was a vid on it 5 months ago explaining all the Walking Dead weird shit he was obsessed with. Yes, absolute. Like I say, obsessed with that, but acting out something like that on your own family is absolutely horrendous. So Mr. Tommy Gunn says, thank you, Ricky, for all you've done for the bacon bashing scene on YouTube. I was going to say TV there. Yes, like I said, this channel, the way it's going now, primarily, this is what people are wanting to see. You can tell by the views, the subscriber count. I'm nearly at 100,000. If you are watching and you're not already subscribed, go and double check. Go down and hit that subscribe button. Get us at 100,000. Some weeks, my subscribers has been going up by 3,000 and 4,000 a week. So I'd imagine that 100,000 will be here within a matter of weeks. Andrew McGonigal. Hard to pronounce that one, pal. I tell you what, the Scottish names are hard to pronounce. Hello from Glasgow. Love your work. I've just done a video, which I need to edit and get it uploaded, on someone who's just been found dead in HMP Low Moss. I'll not give too much away, but if you keep watching, I will bring you up to date on his death. He was found in HMP Low Moss, and he is known as the blowtorch killer. That's as much as I'm going to say. I'll leave the juicy parts for the video. Yeah. So Matthew says, David said he killed his sister because she chose the wrong story options for the little girl in the story game. Absolute weirdo, like I say, but there's a lot of people known as weirdos on computers, but they don't act out these type of fantasies. And for it to happen so easily, for him to go unnoticed, being able to go online and buy that shotgun with 100 cartridges and act out that sick fantasy, it is absolutely unbelievable. Right, people, I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes. Any more questions, fire away, because I'm going to wrap it up now because I've got a lot on the day. I just thought I would quickly jump on and do a live because it's a lot easier than doing the video, then having to edit it and upload it. Because when you do the live, it actually uploads as soon as it's finished. So if you are just joining now, once the live finishes, the whole video will upload back up. So Carl Brown says, Ricky, what editing software do you use? To be honest, I actually use CapCut now. I've used a lot of different softwares over the years. Used to use Adobe Pro and a few others, which were quite expensive, but the one that works best for me and the quickest at the moment is CapCut Pro, and it's not even that much, £10 a month or something like that. John, hello from the Northeast. I never heard of a bacon until I watched your vids. Yes, so a bacon, because there is a few different reasons why it's called a bacon. A lot of people just say bacon bonds equals, and bacon, I asked the same question when I was in high security prison in Franklin Prison. I asked one of the lads, I said, why do they call them bacons? And his reference was, the reason why is because bacon comes from a pig, and a pig is a beast. And the VPs are beasts, which is a simple explanation. And another person actually said they started calling them bacons because I can't remember the name of the film. Kevin Bacon starred in a film where he was a bacon. And that's where it came from in his terminology. That's when he started calling them bacons, he said that's what it came from. But like I say, there's a few different terms, but bacon is a beast. JL, appreciate your work on keeping people up to date, not a bother. Right, people, I'm going to leave that one there for now, but I will be doing plenty of more lives in the coming weeks. I'm going to try at least a couple of times a week. Like I say, I've got a bit more time, so I will be getting more videos on daily. So don't you worry about that. And I will be getting some more podcasts up and running. I've got a one coming up soon with a student from a university who's doing a casework on IPP prisoners. So I will be doing a live soon just to talk about the IPPs. But I'm going to leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. And as usual, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day, people, and stay safe.